crazy, but I didn't know you would.
How did it run after that, Cat?
It helped it. It didn't spin as much coming off the turn.
Welcome to another high-octane episode of Southern Dirt Motorsports.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Southern Dirt Motorsports podcast. I'm Steve Winstead. I'm up here in the big, beautiful community of Allen's, Tennessee, in my home county of Overton County. I'm in the shop of Justin Maxwell and Billy Maxwell, and I want to welcome y'all to my podcast, and I appreciate you allowing me to set up in your shop here.
It's a pleasure for you to be here.
I'm proud to be here. So, tell us a little bit about your racing career, how you started,
Well,
and then we'll go up from there.
we started racing go-karts in 2008 at the local track in Livingston. Raced there 1 year, and we didn't know how it was going to go from there. Or I guess the rest is kind of history. We've been on the road ever since. So just running and racing against people in different states and cities and time zones and different cars with horsepower, more horsepower and bigger tires and more names to race against.
So, how old was you when you started?
I was 7 when I started.
7-year-old.
Yeah.
Wow. So you had your parents' blessings.
yeah, I sure did. Yeah, but I think back then I got more tore up about it than they did, and now I think it's right the opposite some days.
Well, there's a lot of work that goes into keeping a car up. Oh, speaking of that, take me, like I told you before we started recording here, this is a new generation of race cars for me. I'm used to the old school cars, you know, the 55, 56 Chevrolets and so on. Tell me give me a typical week of, like, what all you have to do to your car to get ready for the next race, provided you've not had an accident or a blowed motor or something like that.
Well, with our modified now, it's pretty straightforward. We'll come home on Sunday after racing somewhere Saturday night, and you know, if the weather's pretty on Sunday, we'll turn around and wash it right then that afternoon. If not, we'll hit it Monday or Tuesday, and then you know, you wash car and tires, and if you don't tear anything up or don't have to change anything, with the quick changer ends we have now, it's not no big deal to change a gear. We can have it. We usually hit that about Thursday, and if you don't have to do that, it's just pretty much bolt check everything and buff your tires, groove your tires, cycle your tires, and measure out your sagger and load everything, try to go racing. It's pretty straightforward now. I mean, but back then, I mean, you'll have your weekends where you'll bend the body panel and you'll have to cut it loose. You'll have to drill the rivets off from the bracing and lay it on the floor and smack it out. Or you'll have weekends where you have to change front springs or rear springs or just kind of look over some stuff. It's
if you don't get a hit where you have to change parts or something like that, we have broke spindles before and stuff like that, and general maintenance is oil change every 2 races, spark plugs every 2 to 3 races, be sure the battery's charged, like he said, check everything, safety check everything. Mm-hmm. It's stupid to be 15 laps into a 25 lap race and the header fall off the car, and that's just not checking stuff before you go to the track.
Yeah, you have to be prepared.
Yeah, you do have to do that. It don't sound like a lot of work, but it is just, and a lot of times you don't check it for your well-being, but you check it for everybody else's well-being.
Yeah, not only for your safety, but your competitor's safety.
Yeah. I was telling him one time we was talking about something. I can't remember what it was, but I told him, I was like, the only reason why I worry about this is I don't necessarily worry about for everybody else, but not necessarily worry about for my safety, right, but everybody else's safety.
Right.
Yeah. But
so Billy, what role do you play in this?
Well, I guess I'm just a general flunky. Try to keep him calm and his goal set to what he's going to try to do that night. Try to get parts ordered. Used to the old cars, like you were talking about in the days back in the 70s and stuff, they went to the junkyard and hunted up parts and modified the parts and built the parts to go on the cars. And now you sit down, log on to a website and order parts. There's 5 or 6 different parts dealers that we deal with, everything from Speedway and performance bodies and stuff, online catalogs to local people like PPM over at Rockwood and stuff. So, it's a different world than what it was back in the 70s. So we try to keep. I try to help him do the maintenance on the car and try to keep stuff ordered and get the parts that we need to get us to go to the track. That's pretty much it for me.
What, talking about preparation with your car and stuff, what is the oddest thing? Is there one thing that stands out odd that happened to your car that you look back, dang, and overlooked that?
Where was we at in the legend car? Is that trip to the World Finals?
Yeah.
Then the legend cars, it had the foot box was so small under the steering column that they had 2 brake pedals. Well, we had never thought about, and it had a bolt that connected to the push rod on the master cylinder and all this. We had never thought about changing that bolt. Well, we're on a, how big was that racetrack?
I don't know. It was a little over a quarter mile. It might have been a 3/8, but what he's talking about, a 50-cent bolt almost kept us from making the race. And it was something that we never even thought about even checking. And it was a grade 8 bolt that actually worked the master cylinder push rod from the brake pedal. And it broke just as it was ready to go out on the track. And, it was something that we just overlooked and never even thought about, checking or seeing or anything like that. So that, things like that happen, and it makes you more conscious about what you're trying to do to get ready to go to the track.
Little gremlins sometimes.
Yeah. That actually broke. I was at speed in practice and going off in turn 1, and Rich and I tried to put my foot through the firewall, hit the brakes, and it sure enough, pedal just went to the floor, and I was like, "This is something like that."
Okay, let's go back just a little bit. I kind of jumped ahead of myself here. How long did you race go-karts?
From 2008 to 2014. So
6 years.
yeah, right at 6 years.
Where all did you race at?
Mostly over around Knoxville. Dumpling Valley was a big place that we run. It's no longer open. What was the place?
Ashway.
Yeah, Ashway over at Strawberry Plains.
Up at Bristol.
Yeah, we made a trip up to the same exit you get off to go to Bristol racetrack at. A little go-kart track called Beach Nut. That racetrack was way down in the valley.
Southern Kentucky.
Yeah, Columbia, Kentucky. 2 or 3 other places.
Batesville, Mississippi.
Yeah, I made that trip to the Nationals in Batesville, Mississippi that year. That was it. That was the race we blew 3 motors before we ever got on the racetrack.
So, would you consider making the Nationals the highlight of your go-kart career?
I don't know that the race where we sat on the pole for the senior champ race at Georgia that time. Dad can tell you more about that than I can.
Okay, let's hear it.
Well, we ran a touring series when he was 12, turning 13. We ran a senior, what they call senior champ race. He was racing against guys, most of them were 18 to 20-year-old. And it was a touring series throughout the Southeast. We ran in Alabama and edge Georgia, Tennessee, Eastern Tennessee. And he actually was fast qualifier in that track in was it in Alabama or in Georgia?
It was Yeah, it was in Georgia.
in Georgia. So I was pretty pumped up that day that
should be.
he out qualified, the guys that were 6 and 7 years older than him, and we ended up finishing second in that touring series for that year. So that was probably one of the highlights of our go-kart career. And he mentioned going to Batesville, Mississippi. We went down there the third year that we raced go-karts, first national event that we ever went to, thinking that there's a possibility that we might not make the top 22 to even make the race, and he qualified third.
Wow.
And ended up finishing fifth in the race. So
That's something to be proud of.
Yeah, that's a couple of the highlights of the go-kart career.
Okay, when you decided to make the leap from go-karts to cars, what was the first car that you drove? What kind was it?
It was a legend car.
Legend car?
Yeah, yeah.
Just what you're driving today?
No, we don't. We're racing dirt modified.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. How long did you race the legend cars, and what's your favorite moment in that?
Let's see. We raced them from 15 to 22. 7 years. Right?
Yeah, 7
Yeah,
years.
7 years. And I don't know.
I can tell you.
We had pretty good pace at the fairgrounds there for a couple races, and we won 2 races. One of them in pretty good fashion, and another we drove around. And, see, the fairgrounds was flat. And the third line was on the bottom, and we had a restart, and 2 or 3 of them got together, and I started outside the leader because they had the choose rule.
Yeah.
You could choose which lane you wanted to start, and I was like 4th or 5th, and they put a bunch of speedy dry down on the inside of the racetrack. Right where the restart zone was, and I seen that, and I was like, I don't need to be down here in this, and so I chose outside, and it was the first car choose outside, and went up there, and we restarted, and everybody was in that oil dry, and I come around the second turn, and I looked to the left and seen there wasn't anybody there, and kind of just drove off and won it.
Just a right place at the right time.
Yeah.
He also won down there about 2 years before that. I guess it was his second year probably he raced legend car, and there was some pretty heavy hitters in the field. One of them was Jeff Green from Owensboro, Kentucky, that used to race. He won the Busch championship one year and raced the Winston Cup.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the field. He beat him, and also Wayne Grove, which used to race NASCAR Truck Series. He was in the field. So, and that was a proud moment for me.
Yeah, it would have to be.
Yeah, the race he's talking about. We got. I don't know. I can't remember if qualifying was rained out or we had to start by draw or
I
what.
think it started by draw.
Yeah, but He got
in a wreck on the second lap. Had to come in the pits, repair a bumper, and restarted dead last, and then ended up winning the race.
Yeah,
We were really good that day.
From last to first.
Well, we was running third with about 2 laps to go, and I guess I can't remember who it was, but whoever was in first and whoever was in second decided to wreck each other, and of course they had to go to the back, so that's pretty good shape right after.
Put you in catbird seat.
Yeah. I mean, we was gonna leave down there being happy with third because I knew I didn't have a skill level, and our car didn't really have the speed at the time to compete with who was in first and second. So I was happy with third, and then next thing I knew, they were both sitting backwards, and we restarted, and I ended up winning. So we were definitely shocked with even having a top 3, let alone win that day.
And what year was that?
What year was
That would have been 17, I guess.
17?
Yeah, I've been 17.
Okay, let's go forward a little bit. past 2017. Let's go up to between 17 and 20. What's some of your favorite memories and accomplishments and maybe regrets?
Let's see. We run national points for the sanctioning body that U.S. Legend Cars is under. INEX. They have the national points deal, and we run that and done pretty good, and went into the World Finals. I think we was like
we were 10th or 11th.
Yeah,
but we didn't have a good week.
No, we didn't.
At the World Finals.
We didn't. We had never. We went to that World Finals racetrack, and it was a flat, pretty close to 3/8 mile, and you had to run in those cars a 410er in 5th gear, and that's something that's unheard of, and it was as flat as this desk, and the wind, it was right on the beach, and the wind would move you all around and stuff.
Where's the finals held at?
They rotated every year, I think.
Kind of a traveling thing.
Yeah, was this year it was in Vegas?
Well, this year it was in Las Vegas. That year it was on the coast of North Carolina.
Yeah. But I enjoyed that year doing that. That made me feel like we accomplished something. We didn't make the top 10 points, but we ended up finishing 12th, but we learned a lot and took a lot away from that. But that's
he says 12th. I think it was actually 13th. What he finally was,
Yeah.
but that was 365 cars.
Wow.
And that was every weekend from January 1 to 1st of October. Just
Wow.
that's whenever the points are open. They're open in INEX. They're open from I think January 1 to October, first weekend in October. I could be mistaken. It's been so long since I looked at points. I don't. I guess after that, favorite moment was first time getting in a dirt car. Honestly, is the first day we loaded the car up, took it to Crossville, just to learn how to get it in high gear, and learn how to drive the Burt clutch that you had to push in and give gas, and yeah, that was definitely a learning experience that day. But it's still. We've done a whole lot since then. We've come a long way.
Alrighty. Well, this is going to conclude this episode of Southern Dirt Motorsports podcast. I want to thank Justin and Billy Maxwell for allowing me to come up here. And please like and subscribe to my channel, Southern Dirt Motorsports, on YouTube. And this is Steve Winstead. Thank you so much.